We begin with breaking news at 4 o'clock. Students at Cornerstone Charter Academy tested positive for the coronavirus. In a letter to parents, the school said a parent tested positive for the virus after bringing their kids to school last week. While the kids passed screening protocols to enter the building, tests later confirmed they too were positive. The director says everyone followed guidelines, wearing masks, social distancing, and washing their hands. But parents with kids in the same classroom as the positive students will hear from the school. School leaders say the school has been deep cleaned and disinfected since the exposure, but classes were canceled today and tomorrow as they switched to remote learning for the next week and a half. Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Tahitian Voice and Eric Chilton. Of course, this is an interactive show, so join our conversation on our live streams on social media. It was a big first night at the Republican National Convention, noted by multiple surprise appearances from President Donald Trump and his strong message that re-election will keep America safe from both crime and the coronavirus.
And Republicans formally nominated the president again during roll call. Now, the first night's theme was Land of Promise. It featured a video showing the president with essential workers in the White House. President Trump made a second surprise showing from the White House diplomatic room with 6 Americans who were held hostage by U.S. adversaries. Donald Trump Jr. and his girlfriend Kimberly Guilfoyle highlighted the economy. Many speakers accused Democrats of pushing for socialism. In the meantime, tonight's speakers will include First Lady Melania Trump, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Senator Rand Paul, former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, and Eric and Tiffany Trump.
Well, some of Google's top trending searches are about the RNC, including how you can watch the convention. CBSN is covering the convention every night at 5 and at 8 p.m. You can watch speakers on CBSN from 8:30 until 11. Our coverage of the convention is from 10 until 11 p.m., and you can also watch live on your phone. The convention was in Charlotte for night 1, and now the Mecklenburg County Health Director says she's concerned about people not wearing masks and social distancing. She sent a letter to the convention staff saying she noticed delegates were not wearing masks during the roll call meeting. She says staff members replied that they were working to address the problem. Everyone attending the convention agreed to follow rules and requirements before making their way to Charlotte. Some of those requirements included testing people before they arrived and then retesting them once they landed in the Queen City.
It's time for Email Bag, where we are answering your questions, addressing your concerns. Well, today's question is about absentee ballots, which is, of course, a big topic of conversation with mail-in ballots ahead of November's election. So Natalie Kelly wants to know if the privacy envelope on the absentee ballot indicates party affiliation. Well, we checked in with the director of the Board of Elections here in Guilford County, Charlie Collicutt. He says no, the envelope does not contain party affiliation. However, you will see a place on the envelope for your signature and a place for your witness's signature. Collicutt says if you lose this envelope, you'll have to request a new absentee ballot.
Let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup. Jerry Falwell Jr. announced he is resigning from Liberty University. This after conflicting claims about a sexual relationship his wife reportedly had with a business partner. Falwell confirmed his decision to step down today, but there were competing claims yesterday about whether or not the school's leader had agreed to resign. He told the Associated Press he never broke a single rule that applies to staff members at Liberty. Falwell has been on leave from Liberty since earlier this month after he posted a photo on his Instagram account with his pants unzipped holding a beer. Bars in Tuscaloosa, Alabama are forced to close for the next 2 weeks. The mayor made that call after a rise in COVID-19 cases on the campus of the University of Alabama. Officials with the school called the increasing number of cases, now above 500, unacceptable. The university says the numbers have been rising, particularly among fraternities and sororities. There is now a ban on student gatherings both on and off campus. Lake Higgins in Greensboro is now open after it was closed for cleaning. A staff member there tested positive for COVID-19. The city says the office, bathrooms, and classrooms at the lake were all sanitized. The last time that person was at work was on August 19th. And an experimental COVID-19 vaccine could be evaluated before the end of this year. The Oxford vaccine, being developed with AstraZeneca, is working to collect enough data for regulators to assess. This particular vaccine showed early promise in the first human trial when it produced an immune response. There are reports that the Trump administration is considering fast-tracking the shot in the United States before the election. That would mean the FDA would give it emergency use authorization. 500,000 people were ordered to evacuate the Gulf Coast today as Hurricane Laura, expected to make landfall as a Category 3 storm, moves through the Gulf of Mexico. It could reach the coast this week. More than 385,000 people in Beaumont, Galveston, and Port Arthur, Texas were told to leave. And Eric, this is one the National Hurricane Center is watching closely. So can you take us through its projected path?
Yes, we'll do that. And we're going to talk about how that may or may not be affecting our forecast as well. Let's start out with a local look, and then we'll get to that. We're at 88 degrees in Greensboro, 92 in Burlington. The heat's turned up today. 87 in Asheboro, 88 in Winston-Salem. Tonight the low around 71, partly cloudy, warm and muggy. We're not seeing a whole lot in the way of shower activity. To show you the radar, most of it is south of the Triad proper, but southern Davidson, Randolph, and maybe into Montgomery, an isolated shower not out of the question. Most of the unsettled weather is to our south, so we're kind of right on the edge of that. That high pressure ridge will help to suppress a lot of that as we head through the next couple of days. I want you to look to the south at the bottom of your screen. There you see Laura as a Category 2, then increasing to a Category 3. That probably happening Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. It'll move ashore and then head north, still holding enough wind speed to be categorized as a Category 1 if that track holds true, even in northern Louisiana. But you see the arrow circulating there that represents the influence of that high pressure ridge that's off our coast. That should help to steer this storm maybe to our north, but we're still kind of close to this. The last advisory here, the winds were at 75, so that is barely a Category 1 hurricane. Again, expected to be a 3 when it moves ashore Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Now let's scoot ahead at the end of that track, Saturday morning until Sunday morning. So during the day, Saturday overnight and into Sunday morning, it'll be moving by. Most of the radar estimates show the rain to our north, but again, that is awful close with a big margin of error. So it could mean some weekend rain for us. But for now, we'll keep our fingers crossed and just keep a decent rain chance Saturday. Take it out for Sunday. In the short term, low 90s. That'll be for the rest of the work week. Fairly dry for Wednesday, Thursday. 30% chance of a late day shower Friday. Up that to a 50% at any chance on Saturday. Winds will pick up a bit. 87. Then we're clear again. Low to mid 80 Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Jacob Blake's father says his son is paralyzed after Wisconsin police reportedly shot him multiple times in the back. The family is giving an update right now on his condition. Blake went to the hospital in serious condition. Violent protests forced city leaders to declare an emergency curfew on Sunday night, and then on Monday, police fired tear gas at hundreds of protesters who ignored that curfew. Blake's father, Jacob Blake Sr., says he isn't sure if the paralysis is permanent. The officers involved are now on administrative leave.
Happening this evening, a tough but eye-opening conversation. The Greensboro History Museum will hold the last of its Race, Education, and History webinar series with tonight's topic, the lone documented lynching in Guilford County. I spoke with the panelists ahead of the event about why conversations like this are so important. History will be on full display tonight with the Greensboro History Museum's latest webinar titled Remembering a Lynching.
It's a hidden history to a certain extent. Even though people know a lot, know that lynching took place, they don't know the real facts of lynching.
North Carolina A&T University adjunct professor Dr. Deborah Barnes will be on the panel. She says although the topic is tough, the conversation is one that needs to be had to move forward as a society.
It causes us to rethink our conversation about race and racism in this area.
The panelists will talk about the circumstances that led to the 1887 lynching of 17-year-old Eugene Hairston in Guilford County, both who was involved and how it happened.
Because to me, when you only focus on the victim, you're missing part of the point.
Dr. Barnes says it can be difficult to understand lynching in today's society, but says the complexities around police brutality draw similar parallels.
When we look back, we're outraged. When we see the pictures, we're outraged. But when you think about what is happening in society today, that's going to be somebody else's lynching data in the future.
The hope for tonight is a greater understanding of the hard truths.
Everybody wants to clean that conversation up and show that we have a happy ending. And I like a happy ending too, but you can't get to the ending until you go through all of the details of what has happened, honestly and truthfully.
That webinar starts at 6 o'clock tonight. I will have the link on how to register up on our website shortly. Now, if you do miss this event live, you can catch the replay that will be posted on the Greensboro History Museum's YouTube page. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
My check is good. 2 minutes of break, and we're going to go to break right from you, Luke.
Okay, so I'll toss to break.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Panthers are getting back on the field for practice this week, and you get to watch them right here on WFMY News 2, your official home for the Carolina Panthers. And WFMY News 2's Luke Liddon joins us now live. Luke, what do we need to know to be able to watch the Panthers?
Okay, so Tahisha, the Panthers are bringing excitement to an unusual season by giving all of us and the fans an inside look at practice tomorrow evening. Now, when the actual season starts in September, Panthers are requiring fans to wear face masks to all those games happening inside Bank of America Stadium, and the stadium will have hand sanitizer, hand washing stations throughout for ticket holders. We also know the Panthers are limiting seating at Bank of America Stadium, but we don't know what that'll look like just yet, so all the images you see on your screen, it will not look like that come 2020. As for the practice itself, the original Fan Fest, we are going to have live updates for you right here on WFMY News 2 throughout our newscast on Wednesday, plus the practice will air live at 7 p.m. So here's what you need to know about programming changes for tomorrow. Big Brother will air overnight on Thursday morning at 1:38 a.m., while Wheel of Fortune will air about an hour later at 2:38 a.m. And finally, Jeopardy will air a little bit later. I don't know if most of you will be awake, at 3:08 a.m. And also an important note here, the Republican National Convention is also being held in Charlotte, so be sure to record or set your DVRs to run long, as that may go long itself, which might push those programming channels or programming dates back just a little bit further. And don't forget, the final Carolina Panthers Classic game will air this upcoming Saturday. You can watch the Panthers take on Dallas back during Thanksgiving back in 2015. The game starts at 8 o'clock right here on WFMY News 2, your official home station of the Carolina Panthers. But we'll be right back after the short break. Stay with us.
So, in tough times like these, it's hard to be creative and maybe keep decorating around your home. Money is tight. Home goods and decorating or art supplies are very expensive. But there's one nonprofit, they may actually have the answer here. They are as unique as they come. Here's part of my conversation with Paige Cox from Reconsidered Goods.
Paige, let's talk about how this idea came about. How did you come up with the idea to create your company?
I started by realizing that we had a void of a thrift store for craft items. So I did a boot camp with Scrap Exchange in Durham a few years ago, about 5 years ago now, and learned how to start one.
So really explain, because when you and I were talking about this, I said, well, so what exactly do you guys repurpose? And there's a lot of creativity in what you guys repurpose.
Yeah, so we ask people to look around their house, and if there's items they're not using that could be used by someone else. We have a long list of things that we do accept. And a lot of our items are definitely craft items, but there's also home items, hardware. There's things that people have purchased, maybe they didn't use, that they don't want it to go to waste. And Reconsider Goods is a great place for those things to end up so they can find a home.
You know, it's funny when I look past you and I see your environment and I realize that you are a creative person. Obviously, creativity is at the heart of this entire event.
Absolutely. We are there not only to reuse and promote sustainability, but we're there to support our artists by offering them inexpensive materials so they can create art for very little money and maybe make a living off of it.
Now also, I know you and I talked about fabrics too, and I would think this is good for people that maybe can't afford to go to an expensive fabric store and buy. They can come there and get smaller items and maybe make pillows or something. Is that how that works?
Yeah, so we do get a lot of upholstery fabric from the High Point area. We also get a lot of personal donations from people. We have a lot of cottons, so people have been buying a lot of cottons to make the face masks. So there's a good variety of sewing notions and fabrics at all times.
It's a beautiful thing you're doing with that creative artsy side of things that really nowadays sometimes has to take a back burner because of funding. We appreciate what you're doing, Paige.
Very cool what they're doing. You need to check it out. They, by the way, just were able to move into that new facility, lots more square footage, and that means more goods for us to check out. And if you need more information, I've linked you to their website. Just look for this story. It's on our website, WFMYnews2.com. 4 to 5 continues in just a few minutes, right after this break.
The Farmer's Almanac released their extended forecast for the 2020-2021 winter season, and they say that you will need a heavy sweater to make it through in the southeast. The almanac also calls for a chilly and showery winter in the region, saying we will experience average precipitation and chillier than normal temperatures. Meanwhile, in the Northeast, they call for a cold, wet, and white winter. They're calling for above normal snowfall in the Midwest and normal temperatures in the Southeast.
All right, so let's talk about this. I ask you here on my Facebook page, do you follow the almanac? And if you do, what do you think about this year's outlook? Let's take a look at your comments this afternoon. Bobby Odom said, yes, I do. Buy one every year. Looking forward to the chilly temperatures. Stacey Pennington says, as long as we have no ice storms, I need some cooler weather. This heat is about to kill me. Angie Clyburn Gardner said, I predict a blizzard in October. That would go right along with the way 2020 is going, Angie. But then we heard from meteorologist Tim Buckley. He just said, no ma'am. And then he got a response here from Stephen Gibson. He said, forget the Farmer's Almanac. That's ancient history. I only believe in the Buckley Bible of weather. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley has a following even on my Facebook page. We all love him. We all love what he has to say about the weather. I've heard about the Farmer's Almanac for many, many years, but never really paid attention to it.
Now, I don't pay attention to the almanac. I don't really pay attention to the zodiac signs. I'm supposed to act this way because I'm a Sagittarius. I believe what the experts say, so I listen to Tim Buckley and I listen to Eric Chilton and the rest of the meteorologists here at News 2.
It's funny, when I worked in Tampa, Florida, I got to interview the publisher of the Farmer's Almanac. And so I asked him, and I was trying to kind of pin him down a little bit and say, how do you get your weather forecast, long range, what do you do? And he just smiled and he said, let's just say that we talk to a lot of farmers and whatever they say, we go with. I said, okay, all right, at least he's honest about it. Let's talk about our forecast, shall we? Because we've done some research and we have something for you here. 71 degrees, the overnight low tonight, not based on the farmers, although I'll tell you, they do know how to watch skies and predict short-term weather. They've got that down. 71 degrees, the overnight low, partly cloudy, warm and muggy. Now tomorrow, I think we're going to hit 90 because we're pretty close to that today, upper 80s to right at 90. Same story tomorrow, mainly dry. We are not seeing a whole lot in the way of rain in the short term. That could change by the weekend. We hope not, but we're going to watch this and see. For right now, if you're in southern Davidson, Randolph, and also in Montgomery County, you may see a scattered shower or two. It may stretch even over into Chatham County in the next hour or so. Most of this is remaining to the south. We're kind of playing a dancing game here with that front of that area of moisture you see there, and then also the ridge of high pressure that's trying to hold it away. So we're caught in the middle of that battle. Here comes Laura, possibly as a Category 3, moving in toward the Texas coastline and maybe over to New Orleans. That's kind of our area we're watching now. This you're looking at Thursday at 4 p.m. We're really concerned about what will happen with this system by Saturday. Let me skip ahead to this track so you can see that the remnants, now it'll just be an area of rain, but it could be heavy rain by then. It looks like the model's now taking it just to our north and keeping the rain away from us, but that margin of error is pretty big, and we, of course, will be following that over the next few days, as it could bring at least a 50% chance of rain on Saturday.
Good Tuesday afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Tahitian Voice and Eric Chilton this afternoon. Once again, this is an interactive newscast. We like to chat with you on our live streams. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Well, let's get right to it this afternoon. State Health Secretary Dr. Mandy Cohen is stressing the importance of the 3 W's. She spoke earlier this afternoon. Cohen says the trends in North Carolina are showing positive progress, contributing to the success of those 3 W's. Dr. Cohen says it is still important for you to wear your face mask anytime you're around someone, including extended family, and she stressed the possibility of not knowing where your extended family has been, or even if you have the virus but aren't showing symptoms. She says wearing a face mask truly protects everyone. She also touched on washing your hands, that second W. Dr. Cohen says it is important to wash your hands after touching any surface, even if it's one you're familiar with, and go ahead and carry around hand sanitizer so you can sanitize after you pump gas or open a door. Finally, that third W, wait 6 feet apart. She says this isn't just about waiting far apart from anyone you don't know. It also includes waiting apart from people you do know, like if you're at a family gathering. The Alamance County Detention Center is putting those 3 W's to practice after seeing an outbreak of COVID-19 cases, 5 cases, 2 inmates and 3 staff members. Detention Center says it is cleaning and sanitizing facilities to control the spread of the virus now, and staff has to wear masks. Inmates have their own personal hygiene kits as well. The facility says they are testing all staff and inmates in the next 48 hours.
The Guilford County Health Department will be hosting a testing event. It'll be at the East Wendover Avenue location this week. So here's what you need to know. All testing will be done by appointment only from 9 a.m. until noon. You can schedule an appointment by calling the number you see there on your screen. And the good news is there will be no out-of-pocket costs. Over in Randolph County, there is, of course, testing happening this week as well. Testing is going on right now until 7 o'clock at Crestview Wesleyan Church, and then tomorrow from 5 to 8 in Northgate Commons. You can register for your test on site. Testing will also be happening every Friday at the Randolph County Public Health Department from 7 to 11 a.m. You will need to register for an appointment for those Friday test times.
And in Guilford County, they are hosting back-to-school shot clinics for 7th and 12th graders. The first one is this Saturday from 9 to 1 at Moorhead and Craft Recreation Centers. An appointment is preferred, but you don't have to have one. You should bring your student's insurance card and shot records.
The laptop shortage for students remote learning is not just an issue here in the Triad. Laptops and other needed remote learning equipment are low nationwide. Now, the world's largest computer companies, we're talking Lenovo, HP, and Dell, say there's a shortage of nearly 5 million laptops. Lenovo says their computers keep getting blocked from being imported because of government sanctions right now on China. The Commerce Department imposed sanctions on 11 Chinese companies, including on manufacturer Lenovo. The company says the sanctions add several weeks to existing delays. Guilford County Schools is waiting on 60,000 laptops to arrive sometime in late November, but they're currently asking for donations of gently used laptops that students can use until those new ones come in.
Let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup. The Republican National Convention wrapped up day 1 with the renomination and surprise appearances of both President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. Donald Trump Jr. and former Fox News host Kimberly Guilfoyle spoke, as well as notable Republicans Senator Tim Scott and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. After the Democratic convention last week, Republicans are building up their candidates. Typically, the nominee doesn't appear at a convention until the end of the week, but President Donald Trump made several appearances yesterday, both in person and on video. Looking ahead tonight, First Lady Melania Trump will speak from the Rose Garden of the White House, and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo will address the crowds from Israel. NC State is temporarily pausing all sports because of the coronavirus. University leaders say they base their decision on the number of clusters within the athletic program. The school is now following all protocols and working with local health officials. Athletic Director Boo Corrigan says they are taking a break until they have additional information, and they're going to evaluate the most responsible path moving forward. Breonna Taylor, the woman killed by police 6 months ago in Louisville, Kentucky, is now on the September cover of Vanity Fair. A portrait of the EMT is on the issue that focuses on art and activism in the 21st century. Amy Sherrill, the artist who painted former First Lady Obama's portrait, is behind Taylor's cover portrait as well. Louisville police broke down the door of Taylor's apartment in March and shot her.
Temperatures right now pretty hot out and about. 88 degrees in the Triad. That's not bad when you look at Elizabeth City showing up at 94. Even Richmond, Virginia at 90, 91 in Richmond, 90 in Roanoke. To the south, 87 in Columbia and Wilmington. Charleston, 82. Very comfortable down there in the Battery area of Charleston. Looks nice. So planning forecast for tomorrow, 71. That'll be your morning low. We don't expect much in the way of rain. I'd say mostly sunny skies, maybe a couple of clouds by afternoon, but that high temperature after an 85 midday reading, we go up to 90 for tomorrow. Notice the rain that we're seeing now, not all that widespread, mostly at the southern tip of our viewing area. So Montgomery County mostly dealing with that. Also down toward Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. Overall, you look at the bigger picture here, we think we're in pretty good shape for rain over the next couple of days. That cold front you see to the north will also help. What's left of it will sag to the south and it keep a lot of that rain away. We'll take a look at our 7-day through the weekend in just a minute.
A Guilford County organization is helping grow food for kids' lunches. Guilford Child Development's Catering for Kids program received hydroponic lettuce, cucumbers, and tomatoes. They say the produce will help make lunches for up to 17 child care facilities, totaling up to 700 meals. This week, the lettuce will make fresh chicken salad lunches for Thursday's Grab and Go program. The veggies were grown in a greenhouse at Guilford County Farm, and that's operated by a mentoring program for 14 to 24-year-old men. Catering for Kids hands out monthly menus and nutritious meals for students in Head Start and Early Head Start programs in Guilford County.
Let's talk about voting, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, so if you early vote or you vote on election day or you vote by mail-in ballot, here's my question. Which way does your vote count more?
Well, it seems like a trick question because your vote is your vote no matter how you do it, right?
You would think so, right? And that is right. Whether you stand in line or whether you walk to the mailbox, your vote counts just the same. Now, what happens if you get an absentee ballot in the mail, but then you decide, hey, you know what? I want to vote in person anyway.
If you request a ballot and you get the ballot and you have it sitting there in your hand, but you say, oh no, I'd rather go to early voting or election day, that's fine. Tear that ballot up. Do not vote the ballot. Just, you don't have to call or anything. Just don't vote it, destroy it, and then go vote on election day or early voting. And
Usually the Board of Elections is your go-to for deadlines for voting, but this year the Postal Service is putting their 2 cents in, and the dates are different. We're going to explain coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. And today we're talking unemployment, we're talking new jobs, so text your questions to our experts, 336-379-5775. We have info on a group that takes on tough unemployment cases. You might need some help. And we have an expert who's putting people in jobs right now. And we have information on a virtual help fair. That's jobs, that's rent help, it's other resources, and all of this starts at 5:30.
There you go. You can probably hear me now, huh? Yeah, when I unmuted, it probably would work.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Remote learning, of course, is something new for most of us, but by now you're probably getting the hang of it, maybe. Well, the digital platform Slack is asking the Twitterverse to share remote work success stories. So for every tweet, they're going to donate $5 to Year Up. That's an organization that helps young professionals get a jump start on their careers. So our digital expert, Jalen Gilkey, joins us today on the 4 to 5. Jalen, you've been taking a look at these stories. What are some of your favorite ones?
Okay, so the hashtag is when remote works. And some of my favorite ones from the day, the first one comes from Dave. It says hashtag when remote works. Before the fires in the West, I noticed a lot less haze working remotely is good for the planet. And then our next one comes from Shredded. It says less stress, no commute, spending quality time with family, doing the job you like is still kind of the dream, at least for some of us. Hashtag when remote works. Rocco says when remote works, when you don't have to rush getting kids ready for school, forgetting something at home and having to circle back. And that is high on my list of pet peeves. And Shell, she says, I can focus when I don't have to listen to chit chat all day. And I'm gonna be honest, I am kind of a chatty patty in the newsroom.
Jalen, thank you so much for sharing your chit-chatty stories with us. I know, Tahisha, you are still working remote. Eric Chilton's still working remote as well. Do you have any success stories about this working out well for you?
The only thing really for me is I get a little bit more rest. You know, I get to sleep in an extra 30 minutes. I need to work on my back though. I know we've talked about it. I don't have the proper support. So when I get that in check, I can say when remote works, no back problems.
Yes, you need to work on that. It's bad for your back to be sitting in a bad chair, Tahisha. Stand at your counter back there and work. That helps me.
It is. Yeah, I don't like being out in the open. I want to just be in my room doing my own thing. I don't know. I'm weird like that. All right, so as we talk about the pandemic, many of us have formed some habits, some good, some bad. So I asked you on my Facebook page today, what is something that you started doing in quarantine that you plan to continue on? So let's take a look at some of the comments. Melanie says, writing cards to people isolated in nursing homes. Melanie, thank you so much for doing that, and I know they appreciate it. Rachel Horton says, taking long walks every day. Caleb Treadwell says, staying 6 feet away from people at all times. Melanie Neal says, cooking more at home. Barry says, beautifying my house, new front door and storm door, new patio doors and screen. Next up, French doors in my living room area, then work on my bathrooms. Maury says, staying out of the argumentative, divisive stuff on social media. That's good for your mental health, Maury. And Stephanie says, grocery pickup. I will say, Maddie, I know you love the grocery pickup. I've started doing that too. Really life-changing. You get everything on your list, you're not over budget, and then you don't add the chips that you don't need.
I just want to take a page out of that guy's book who sounds like he's rebuilding his whole house. I can barely keep up with a couple plant beds, but that guy's got it going on.
Yeah, you know what? I have been inspired to redecorate my apartment. I think because I'm spending more time in it, I'm just really tired of looking at all of the things that I've had for a couple of years now. So I've been consulting with WFMY News 2's a resident interior designer, aka Mrs. Julie Luck, and she's been helping me. I have some things ready for pickup actually today that I'm going to go grab after the show. So, you know, maybe these home projects, these DIYs, they really are bringing people through this quarantine.
Yeah, that's right. At the beginning, I actually went through my closet and cleaned out all of the stuff that I don't want. I'm still trying to figure out how I gained clothes in between now and then, though, and I haven't really done any shopping.
I think I know how that happened, but I'll just be quiet.
The look on y'all's faces. All right, the 4 to 5 is coming back right after this short break. Stick around.
Our resident interior designer, Julie Luck. I like the sound of it, totally false, but Maddie cannot wait to see the finished prints.
You know, it is one of the hardest things to do. What am I talking about? Losing weight. Now, if you struggle with this, I want you to listen, because I'm one of these that struggle as well with this, seesaw all the time. The woman I'm about to introduce you to lost over 100 pounds and went from a size 16 to a size 2. Now I have your attention. Here's my conversation with Sammy Brooks.
Sammy, it's, you know, when you look at the pictures, it's just amazing what you have done. I want you to kind of go back, and I want to know, was there a moment when you just said, you know what, I've got to turn my life around?
There was. I actually went Easter shopping in 2013, and, you know, everybody wants a new outfit for Easter, and I went into the dressing room, and at that time, I was wearing a size 16 in pants. And that moment for me was like that was what kind of broke me. I just knew that that was enough.
So everybody's question to you, I'm sure, is how did you do it? Because everybody tries to follow all these weight loss plans, and I'm just wondering what you did to change your diet and exercise and all that. What did you do?
Honestly, it just comes down to being consistent. Nutrition's a big part of that, and it took me 1 year to lose 75 pounds, and that was without stepping foot in a gym. So I just changed my diet, I cut out breads and sweets, and that worked for me. I was very consistent. Whatever didn't work, I would go back to the drawing board and try something different.
And you even went into, do you do competitive bodybuilding? Is that what it is?
I do. That was something that I started about 4 years ago, where I wanted to challenge myself even more. I had lost 100 pounds and I didn't want to stop there. I really enjoy lifting weights, so I got into the competitive side. I didn't win, but for me to be able to be on that stage was very humbling. I'm just a regular girl. I'm a mom of 4. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup, Eric. And I think when you don't pour into yourself and your needs now, it's going to catch up with you later on in life.
It's awesome what you're doing. You truly are an inspiration to people, Sammy. Thanks so much for taking time out, and best of luck.
Mother of 4, by the way, don't forget that. All right, I asked you on Facebook, what do you do? What works for you in the battle of the bulge, as we like to call it? Here's what you had to say. Let's start with Trish. She said, I am walking and trying to avoid sweets. That's right, one step at a time. Megan says, intermittent fasting. I eat 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and some days 2 to 6. I lost 50 pounds and still ate what I wanted, but also remembered the calories going in and the calories going out. Virginia says, I count the calories, write them down, everything as soon as I eat it so I don't forget. Always works for me. And now that everything you buy and even some restaurants have the calories listed, she said it's a lot easier. Crystal says Weight Watchers. They even have an app that makes it easy and inexpensive these days. I have a neighbor did Weight Watchers and losing a ton of weight as well. Rick Hopper says, stop eating when you first feel satisfied and cut out soft drinks. Really easy, not a fad diet. Says he lost 20 pounds in about 5 months. I love Linda Perdue's comment here. She says, when I step on the scale, it says to be continued. I am with you, Linda, but I'm starting it. I'm working on it.
I wish I had the determination to lose weight. I keep saying that I'm gonna, and I try all of these things, but I always end up being around the same 5 pounds, even though I'm trying to get back to where I was. In the meantime, though, I just try to eat healthy and try to not eat as many sweets, which is hard for me.
I do love the cake. First, let me just say both of you look fantastic. And as long as you're feeling healthy and you're confident in yourself, I think that is a good place to start. But certainly inspirational to hear how she was able to transform her entire life, Eric. And it really is an inspiring story that you found there.
I mean, the before and after pictures are amazing. She's very proud of that. She had showed me that before, and I was like, oh my gosh, we've got to tell your story. She's as dedicated as anybody I've ever seen to staying healthy and staying in shape. So a lesson for all of us. And by the way, Tahisha, every pound Tahisha has is muscle. That is one strong girl. There's nothing she has to worry about. Let's take a look at, I don't mess with Tahisha. I don't mess with her. Here's what we have going on with our forecast, right? We are looking at most of the rain in the southern half, well, southern third, let's say, of the viewing area. So from the southern tip of Davidson, Randolph County through Montgomery, that's where you'll see a little rain. No thunderstorms, though, really, to talk about yet. And even on the broad picture here in the radar, you can see it's being held down. Now, there's a cold front that's pushing down from the north. You factor that in, plus the fact that we also see that western extension of the Bermuda High that will sort of squelch out the shower activity for the next day or so. Here's how things change in the long run. We become hot because our winds will continue out of the southwest. Look at the left side of the screen there. You see that would be Laura moving in as a category 3 around the Texas-Louisiana line, we think, by Wednesday night, Thursday morning. The question is, what will happen with that system when it works its way north and then makes that turn east? Will we get rain from that? We're right on the edge of it. Most of it shows staying to the north, but there still is that possibility. We'll be right here to keep you posted. If that were to happen, it will be more of a Saturday during the day thing, and then we'll clear out perfectly on Sunday either way, whether we get the rain or not. 71 the low tonight, partly cloudy, a little muggy out there. Tomorrow we'll push 90 degrees again with that mix of sun and clouds. Here's your 7-day forecast. We promise low 90s, between 90 and 91 for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'd say sunny to partly cloudy every day. Friday evening, maybe that 30% pop-up shower or two. It shouldn't be major. Saturday, we're going to keep this at a 50% now, just in case the remnants of that system work their way in our direction. But we think with the extra clouds, we will be held down to about 87. Now, once that system leaves and our winds will shift a little bit out of the north, we'll cool it back down 83 to 84. That'll be Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. No rain really mentioned for Sunday, Monday, and it'll be less humid, but a very slight late-day shower or storm chance on Tuesday.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, the Guilford County School District is distributing meals to students, but it ends next week. What school leaders are doing to extend the deadline to make sure kids are properly fed. That is next on WFMY News 2 at 5.